Hannah and Tim Grow Old Disgracefully by Robert Chantler. Episode 2. Hip.
Welcome to Lion Ward, Mrs. Spencer. My name is Sister Jennifer Hobbs. Please let me know if you need anything.
Your bed would be nice.
Oh, quiet. Your bed is here. Bay 1, bed 4, by the window. Isn't that nice?
If you want a view of the mortuary building, yeah, delightful.
Well, you're here for a hip replacement, aren't you? So I doubt you'll be getting any closer to the building than this.
Is the bedding clean?
Oh, yes, of course.
I know, hospitals, you come in healthy and you end up with the trots and then your place gets bloody quarantined.
We have not had an outbreak of any bugs on my ward since I started working here.
When was that?
January.
Well, that's only 6 months.
The bedding is not only new, but all the bedding is disposable now, so there is no risk of contamination.
Who was in the bed before me?
A lady who came in for a knee replacement.
Did she die in the bed?
No, she left healthy and happy.
Yeah, but I've only got your word for that, haven't I?
Yes.
Well, as long as I can give you the once over with my lavender hand wipes.
You don't need to. Anyway, I don't think those wipes are a good idea. It's very thin bedding.
Well, I have to wipe it. I'll let you know when I've finished wiping. Oh no, that sounded wrong.
Quite. I'll be back to check on you in a while. Your bedgown is there.
Do they all open at the back?
Yes. You must have had one before when you had your other hip done.
Yes, and I didn't like that one either. Unhygienic, isn't it? I mean, what if someone's lying in bed on their back and farts?
Well, we change the sheets if they need changing, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
What about the mattress?
It has a waterproof cover, which again is changed after each patient.
All right, but if I get the trots, you're in big trouble.
Yes. Now, visiting hours are weekdays from 3 to 4 and 8 to 9.
Good.
And your surgeon this time is Mr. Gibson, a very handsome young man.
Lovely, but is he a good surgeon?
Of course. He is excellent.
It was nice of you to come all this way, darling.
Well, of course. And I bought you some nice grapes and the sister said that was fine.
She seems nice enough. She promised me nobody had died or farted on the bedding, so I'll just have to take her word for it. Is Mr. Tiddle safe?
Yes, darling, he's tucked up in bed on your side of the bed.
Oh, good. He'll be missing his mummy.
Only for a few days.
I didn't sleep well last night.
Oh dear.
Her over there kept shouting stuff in the night. Felt like smothering the noisy cow.
Well, hopefully tonight will be better.
The surgeon is supposed to be coming to see me today. Oh, look, this must be him.
Good afternoon. You must be Mrs. Spencer.
You can call me Hannah.
As you wish.
I want to be your cougar.
Hannah. Sorry, Mr. Gibson. She shouts out things sometimes when she sees a man she fancies. I hoped when she'd got older she'd stop doing it, but alas, no.
I see.
Oh, medicine's wasted on you. You should be in a Levi's ad.
Last warning, darling.
Sorry.
I see you had your other hip replaced recently. Quite unusual for someone to have them both done so close together on the NHS.
The last one was private.
Ah.
If you knew what we used to get up to on Friday nights, you'd understand why my hips are...
Yes, well, he doesn't want to know, so put a sock in it.
You know, that was one thing we never tried.
Well, it should be a straightforward job, and with your health being generally good, I reckon you'll be out the next day. We don't like keeping people in longer than we have to, especially when they have someone at home to look after them.
So how long before we can restart the jollies?
Jollies?
You know, the visit from Roger.
Stop euphemising. She means when can we have sex?
Oh, well, probably lay off it for a month or so while everything beds in.
Tim, on your way home, can you get some more batteries for the rabbit?
Mine in scars.
I mean, Maya.
Yes, he knows, darling. He was joking.
You'll be collected tomorrow at about 2:15. Your operation is at 2:45, and you should be in recovery about 5:30. Then the physio will come and see you tomorrow and start mobilising you.
Is he a hunk too?
Sarah is on duty tomorrow. She's very nice.
Oh, do you fancy her, do you?
No.
If I can't have you, no one will.
Oh, dear God.
Don't suppose there's any chance you might think about lesbianism, just to spare my blushes.
Unfortunately for you and the other good-looking men she shouts at, she's not that way inclined.
I was inclined in all sorts of ways before my hips started playing.
Yes, thank you, darling. Dear God. You went for younger men at uni and you're still doing it in your old age.
So? Nothing wrong with fancying younger men.
You wake up next to someone as young as him and you won't remember whether you had a date or gave birth during the night.
You know, I asked my friend Katie what she thought of you just before I said hello at the bar that night.
And?
She said you were a long shot, and all I wanted to know was how she knew that.
I feel sorry for the nurses.
I think it's the male orderlies who need to worry. And she declared her undying love for her surgeon.
Oh, I thought she stopped all that. Karen used to tell me stories about that.
Anyway, I explained her tendency and I think he understood. Does your Karen still find you, sexually attractive?
Oh, I don't know, old son. I mean, we don't really talk about it. We were certainly never as colourful as you and Hannah. She's a bit conservative when it comes to sex, with a small C.
Well, I haven't seen it, but I'm sure it's quite normal.
Small C, as in conservative. Prudish. Nothing wrong with her.
Yes, well, thank you. Sorry, I got the wrong end of the stick.
She's never got either end of the stick. My friend Stephen went to hospital with the eponymous vacuum cleaner stuck up his,
Ah, you mean your friend, do you?
Yes, old son. Friend wasn't in inverted commas. The only thing that's ever been up my arse is my doctor's finger when I asked him for an impromptu prostate exam.
Ah.
That was an interesting evening in the pub.
All right, gents, mind if I sit here?
Well, as you've sat down anyway.
Thanks. I'm Simon Brown.
I think, old son, you're mistaking me for someone who...
No need to be like that.
Why don't you sit a bit closer? Like on my lap or something?
Oh, okay.
Oh, get off! I was being sarcastic, you turnip. You're having a private conversation.
In a pub, bit risky that. I were an health and safety officer for your county council. 35 years left Birmingham when I was 30 and never looked back. Lost my accent. Well, you do, don't you?
If you say so.
I do. But now in retirement I decided to move down here to Shepperton. Well, there's some nice apartments I've just moved into and you know why I came to Shepperton.
No.
Before he died, my dad told me my sister Anna had moved down here. My other sister Becky is in the States, so that's not an option.
Oh, I could see you in the States. Couldn't you, Chris?
Oh, I could, Tim.
Tim? Hannah married a Tim?
Small world.
Anyway, we're just leaving. See you.
Well, you just might.
Anyway, back to my sex life.
Well, I don't know, Chris. What's the basis of our sex life? Well, Hannah likes my knob, I suppose. Mind you, with her hip being done, she'll be feeling hornier than a unicorn conference. So I might need a nice quiet night at the pub with you.
Maybe we should see someone, a therapist.
Well, why don't you suggest it?
I would if I thought she was getting all frustrated and stuff, but if I suggest that she might think I'm getting horny and she might find it unsettling, What with us being our age and all.
Just ask her if she's happy with things, sex-wise, and if she is, well, fine.
Oh, thanks, Tim, old son. I'm glad we have our weekly get-togethers. Karen wants to know what to do with herself with her coffee buddy in hospital. Anyway, I'll pass on the news, but it sounds like she'll be out tomorrow, so not much point visiting. Maybe we'll come around.
Welcome back, Hannah. All done. It went very smoothly.
Just how I like it.
Well, you can stay here for a while, but if you're fully recovered, you'll need to go back on the ward.
Mr. Gibson, what's your first name?
James.
James.
Yes.
Just before I go back on the wall, could you ask Sister to move that noisy cow in the bed opposite?
Well, it isn't my place to ask, really, so why don't you have a word when you get back, eh? And I'll come round and see you tomorrow.
Wonderful. I'll have a spare pair of knickers on standby.
Yes, Mrs. Spencer.
Can I have a cup of tea, please?
Oh, yes, of course. The Friends trolley will be around in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I know, but I want one now. You've got a kettle in your office. Make us a cup, please.
How do you take it?
Quite strong, but not too strong, with slightly warm semi-skimmed milk until it's a light to golden brown colour. Then it must be stirred
With respect, I have a ward to run.
Oh, all right. I don't know. You should be able to get at least a decent cuppa even on the NHS. What's left of it?
Yes, well, we are nurses, not tea ladies, so sorry.
My hunky surgeon's coming around soon and he might let me go home.
Good.
What?
I mean, good that you're well enough to go home. I mean, I'm not glad to see the back of you.
You will if I roll over.
Well, when we know you're going home, we'll get rid of your bedgown. No point until we know.
Hello, darling.
Hello, Tim. This is Tim.
I know. Hello, Tim.
I'm probably going home today.
Oh, good. Mr. Tiddles asked after you.
Aww.
I had a really strange experience in the pub last night when Chris and me went out for a pint.
Oh, did you?
This guy came over, just sat down at our table, interrupted our conversation and began to talk to us. Bloody northerners, no manners.
It's called being friendly.
Anyway, he used to work for York City Council in health and safety and he's bought a retirement flat in Shepperton.
How strange.
I haven't finished yet. Well, his name was Simon Brown and he was told his sister Hannah and her husband Tim were living in Shepperton by his dad just before he died. And he said his other sister had gone to the States. Well, Becky went to the States, didn't she, after she sorted her marriage out?
Was he irritating and nerdy and fat?
Well, I know you're obsessed with people's size, but I guess by a normal person's standard, he was fat, yes.
I mean, on the fatometer, was he a 3 or a 4?
Oh, for heaven's sake, I don't know. A 4?
Oh, my God, I had a brother called Simon. He was estranged, shall we say. Most families have a mad spinster in the attic, and we had Simon. He was always fat. His dream job would have been as a pie taster.
Well, he knows you live here in Shepperton and he knows I'm Tim, so let's hope he doesn't pursue his inquiries further.
Indeed. Oh, can it with the cow impressions, will you? Oh, my God.
Oh, I take it you're Mr. Gibson?
I am.
You look like Lady Chatterley's gardener.
Darling, husband present.
Oh, yeah, sorry. This is Tim, my husband. We are married, but he goes out every Wednesday for a drink with his friend. Meaning I'm available weekly if you want to pop over and shag me senseless.
Well, thank you, Hannah, but I'm already happily married, thank you. Anyway, I'm here with some good news.
Oh, you're going to get your knob out?
God's sake!
You can go home this afternoon.
Well, she can come home already.
Yes, just gentle exercise, as the physio explained in this leaflet. Then, Hannah, you will come back in 4 weeks to my outpatient clinic for an X-ray and an examination. If everything's settled, you can resume your jollies. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson.
Pleasure.
Did the noisy woman over there keep you awake all night?
No, I was deep in lovely dreams about Dr. Hunk.
Is there a cow in here somewhere?
Don't you start.
See, Tim, it isn't just me that thinks you moo.
Welcome home, Ironside.
The wheelchair's just temporary.
I know, I was just joking. Heard your surgeon was a bit of all right.
Oh, he was like a lifeguard. Ripped. I mean, oh my God.
Yes, thank you, darling. Husband present.
You didn't die or get the trots?
No.
Told you, darling.
Just do as the doctor ordered and you'll be back to your old ways in no time.
A month seems like forever. Mind you, in a month I go back for my follow-up. Dr. Hunk will be rotating my hip and stuff. Oh my God.
I despair.
Meanwhile, I can fall back on my rabbit. Not literally, of course, because if I did, I'd probably miss the...
Yes. Thank you, darling. I don't think Chris and Karen want to know about your rabbit or your acrobatics, thank you.
Tim?
Yes?
4 weeks seems like such a long time.
Well, try not to think about it. Thinking about it will make time go more slowly.
4 weeks until my next fix of James.
I thought you were thinking about when we could resume our sexual activity.
Oh no. Well, I mean, I was, but I was also thinking about James. Did you see his arse as he walked away from the bed?
No, darling. Believe it or not, I don't feel the urge to stare at men's arses, however fit they may be.
He was like Rambo's. What a dreamboat. I wonder if he was a medic in the Marines.
Well, I don't know, darling. Why don't you ask him next time you see him?
I will.
Now, why don't you dream happy dreams about him?
Wouldn't you mind?
If it shuts you up and sends you to sleep, I couldn't give a...
Fair enough. Tim?
Please go to sleep.
I can't. My hip hurts.
Well, it will for a few weeks. The physio told you. Take your painkillers.
I don't want to take them if I can avoid it. Codeine's very constipating, you know. I need to get some sleep.
So do I. So while you're dreaming about Dr. Hunk, I'll be working out what we can do if Simon finds us.
Tim!
Yes?
Can you make me a nice cup of tea, darling? Save me getting up.
You should be getting it yourself, you know. The physio leaflet says you should mobilise as much as possible.
What do they know?
Well, quite a lot. More than you. But just this once.
Thank you, darling. You sound tired.
I didn't get much sleep last night with you fidgeting all night and complaining about your hip.
Well, I'm so sorry. I've just had major surgery.
Yes, all right, I'm sorry, darling. But if this keeps going for night after night, I'll have to sleep in the spare room. I still have to finish this month's journal editing, and I can't think straight when I don't get enough sleep. Oh, I'll go, shall I?
Thank you, darling. Don't forget about my tea.
Oh, hello, Karen. Come in.
How's our invalid?
Less active than she should be.
Taking advantage of your good nature, is she?
Yes, and the next step will be the threat of a sex boycott when she gets the all clear for the recommencement of the jollies.
Just say sex, like everyone else.
I was just making tea. Would you like to join us?
Lovely. Hello, Han.
Hello, thanks for coming.
No problem. How are you?
Stiff, everything hurts. I can't even get comfortable in bed for ages. Tim put a pillow between my legs last night and I slept on my side. I think that helped.
I gather that's all you'll be getting between your legs for a while.
Oh yeah, rub it in.
Although I came to visit you, obviously I did want to chat. It's Chris.
Where?
Nowhere. I want to chat about Chris.
Oh.
Here's your tea, darling. Karen?
Oh, thanks, Tim. Lovely.
You didn't warm my milk, did you, darling?
Oh, sorry, darling, I forgot.
Yes, well, I had this in the hospital.
If you pour boiling water on the milk, how do you know if the milk's warm?
You just do. It tastes fuller.
Okay.
Anyway, Chris.
He asked me if I was unfulfilled sexually.
And?
Well, I was just wondering what brought this on. Normally, he never says anything about our sex life, or lack of it.
Well, not guilty. Maybe he's been talking to Tim.
Tim?
Well, we were chatting at the pub and I mentioned it might be worth the possibility of seeing a therapist, maybe.
Right. Well, don't give him ideas, Tim. Between you and me, I think he assumes I'm some sexually frustrated old maid, but actually, he's not all that. Oh, and by the way, don't tell him that.
Of course I won't. I'm not Hannah.
What's that supposed to mean?
Come on, darling, you couldn't keep a secret if a secret crawled up your bum.
Get some sleep, darling. And for the record, Karen, I remember when we talked the other week, you sounded a little mournful that Chris hadn't serviced you lately.
Hannah?
All right, I'll think about it. I just don't want him turning into a rampant rabbit.
Oh, come on, it's Chris we're talking about. So, back to normal?
Yes.
Come on then, let's celebrate.
Look, I've been running myself ragged these last few weeks and not really sleeping, and I need to sleep tonight. Sorry, darling.
I want sex.
If I agree, will you go to sleep?
Yeah.
OK, well, you'll have to go on top, because I'm knackered.
You old romantic. Why did we come here?
Because our pub meetings have been interrupted more than once by a certain Simon.
And do you reckon he won't find us here?
Well,
He'll find us. We might as well have trackers. Always was a bloodhound. Look like one and all.
You might want to know, Chris and I have agreed we should see a therapist. Marriage counsellor, not a sex therapist, as things are a bit stale generally.
Oh, well done. Well, if you two want someone to come with you for the first session, just ask.
Thanks, Han, but I think we'll manage.
Oi, oi, heads up.
oh, you were right, darling.
Well, well, Hannah. I went to a pub and they told me that you come in here sometimes, so I thought, let's see. I've not seen you in ages.
Well, that's the pleasantries over with. Now sod off.
Hannah, be a bit more subtle, why don't you?
Why did you come here?
Well, all right, look. I told Tim I've chosen to come here in my retirement to be with family. But that were only part true. I had a terraced house not far from York. And one evening, I was on top of stairs and I took a tumble. I had Mrs. Bickerstaff next door. She said he heard noise but didn't come.
Oh.
I bounced all the way down. Boom, 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 boom.
She probably thought it was EastEnders finishing. Oh, I suppose if you're living in Shepperton, our paths might cross, so I suppose we'll have to bond. But just don't butt in too often, clear? We like our little circle of friends, just the four of us. Clear?
So who's it going to be then? Tim, Chris, Karen?
You?
All right. But I've no one here except you.
So, what do you do between meals? I mean, in retirement. In retirement's what I meant.
As for what I do, well, I don't do nought. I'm retired. I just sit in my apartment or on the balcony and watch the world go by.
Right, well, nice seeing you. You're missing the world going by while you're here with us.
Come on, Han, don't be uncharitable.
Oh, thanks.
Would you like a drink?
Oh, I love a drink. Double whiskey.
Oh, have something more expensive, why don't you?
Okay, make it a triple.
Tim, are we the only people alive in 2041 who get sarcasm?
Just buy me this drink, darling. You've been listening to Sue Ford as Hannah, Rob Chantler as Tim, Syra Kingsley as Karen, Geoff Meddleton as Chris, Edward Adams as Mr. Gibson, and Helen Neal as the sister, with Rob Day as Simon. Script and direction was by Robert Chantler. The audience coordinator was Matt Richards. The producer was Victoria Lawrence. This has been a Free Theatre Company production.